What is going on, guys? It's Ryan here, back with another podcast. This is number 2. Today I'm doing NBA with Mason here. His TikTok's NBA Mason 0. If you don't follow him already, make sure you drop him a follow. Today we're going to be giving our playoff predictions and talking about our favorite teams and how we thought they did in the first half of the season. So he's a Celtics fan, I'm a Warriors fan. So starting off with me, the Warriors, I think they had a pretty good first half of the year. We finished one game above 500. Which is pretty good, but knowing that Clay was out the whole first half. Our schedule wasn't that easy, and we definitely had a lot of good wins. We had a lot of good comeback wins. We beat the fully healthy Lakers. A few bad losses though. I think in the second half we need to improve closing out games late. We lost a lot of close games in the fourth quarter with bad decisions, and I think some of that has to do with Steve Kerr with his play calling and coaching and stuff. I think we need to fix some of our rotations. Some of our rotations aren't that good, and when Steve Kerr wants to sit there and just eat up a ton of minutes with his second unit and not get Curry and Draymond in early enough, it costs us the game sometimes. Curry had a great first half. For a little bit, I think he was a top 3 MVP candidate. He obviously isn't anymore, but I think he'll come back and be high in the MVP voting. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he'll be high up there. He's having a really good season, averaging almost 30 points. So, yeah, that's good. He hasn't shown any signs of regressing. Draymond Green, in my opinion, slowly becoming a little bit underrated. People just look at his average points and see how he doesn't score a lot of points and think he's not good. But in reality, he's averaging, I think, around 10 assists. He just creates so many plays, and he's very important to our team. So I think if him and Steph keep playing the way they are in the second half, we will be chilling. Kelly Oubre has, in the month of February, started playing so well. I hope he keeps playing like that. I think he's definitely getting the chemistry down. And as long as Wiggins keeps shooting and our bench like Bazemore and Damian Lee can keep hitting threes, I think we will be fine and hopefully make the playoffs. What about you?
Obviously, my favorite team is the Celtics, and they actually had a rough start in the beginning of the season. Them going below 500, but then on a 4-game winning streak, now they are above 500. Celtics have a lot of problems. Their coaching, Kemba Walker's centers, like Daniel Tice is a terrible center. I don't want to talk about that. But Jason Tatum actually is having a rough year. It's hard to say that. He has a good game and then like 2 bad games. Jaylen Brown, on the other hand, is having an incredible year. Playing the same in every game, no doubt. I think he should just keep making shooting shots like he's doing this year. First time All-Star, which I'm proud of. I think they should add Robert Williams to starting lineup. I don't think Daniel Tice is that good.
Yeah, I agree.
Kemba Walker, I know a lot of people are saying trade him. We need to get him out. I agree with that, but for now, he's a Celtics. He's playing good. He's shooting the 3 ball pretty well. He's making a lot of plays. I also want to talk about the trade deadline. I think if they get a good center, I think the Celtics will be pretty good. Like they want Andre Drummond, Nikola Vucevic, Also, one more point is Marcus Smart. He comes back, I think there will be a good team. I know people are saying, how Marcus Smart, without him, we're losing all these games. That's why we're below 500. I agree with that. And yeah, I hope he comes back soon. And yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he's back after the break. So that was our rundowns on our teams, and now we're going to get into our playoff predictions for the end of the year. We're going to be giving our full top 8 seedings for the East and the West, and a playoff bracket, and the winner of the finals. So starting off in the West at the 8th seed, I have the Spurs. I think they are a really underrated team as of now. I think they're going to regress a little bit. There were trade talks about, I could be wrong, but I saw something about like LaMarcus Aldridge and like Rudy Gay potentially getting traded. So if that were to happen, that would definitely hurt them. But DeRozan and DeJounte Murray are a really good duo. So I think they'll sneak into the playoffs. What
Yeah,
about you?
DeRozan should have been an All-Star this year, and I think personally.
I agree. Like literally today, I think what's his face, Mike Conley got named an All
Yeah,
Star.
I think
That was
DeRozan.
so stupid.
I think that was a little bit biased. I think.
Yeah, just because they have a good record.
Yeah.
So who do you have at 8?
At 8, I actually have the Warriors.
Hmm.
I think their team's good, but I don't think they're like a top 7 or top 6 seed. Like they win a couple games and lose a couple games. They're not really like
Yeah, that's true.
consistent. I mean, if a team knows how to guard Steph, I don't think the Warriors will be able to handle that because they don't have Clay. They can't like expand the court, can't open the court without Clay. And yeah, Draymond can shoot. I mean, he can barely shoot. I mean, he has a lot of assists, which is good. Wiseman is developing. I don't think it will develop fully this year, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll have the Warriors at 8 seed.
Yeah, so 7 is where I have the Warriors. In the beginning of the year, when Steph had a bad shooting game, which happens to every player, we struggled really badly. But we've overcome some of those games, and I think we're going to continue to do that. Basically, once we put the second unit in, and either Kelly plays with them or Wiggins plays with them, they seem to get a lot more aggressive and drive towards the basket more, and I think they feel a little more confident because they know they're like the best player playing at the time. I think Steve Kerr needs to give Jordan Poole more minutes. He just came back from the G League. He's popping off down there. Our final game before the break against the Suns, I didn't expect to win, but Jordan Poole, I think, dropped 26 points, which was a great sign, and he was hitting shots everywhere, so I think he definitely deserves more minutes, and I think we'll get the 7th seed.
For my 7th seed, I actually have the Mavericks. I know they had a tough start in the beginning of the season. Like, low 500, I'm not sure, or I think 500 exactly. But, I think Luka and Porzingis will start, like, heating up, and they'll start, like, winning games. Luka is definitely in the MVP conversation, no doubt. I honestly think he'll win MVP next year. Yeah. The Mavericks.
What if Porzingis gets traded though?
Well,
I
then.
heard they were shopping him, but I mean.
Well, if they do trade him, they better get a good trade. I mean, they have. I mean, Porzingis is a really good center. I don't know why they're looking for trade him. Maybe more depth. For a team.
He's just too injury prone.
Yeah, that's true, but we'll see.
I just didn't feel. I didn't put them in my seating. I didn't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
at 6, I have the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray, he had a really, really, really rough start, and people were at the start of the year. People were already overrating him, saying he was like top 8 point guard, and which is definitely a little bit of recency bias considering his performance in the bubble. He had a 50-point game a few weeks ago, and ever since then he's been really consistent. So I think if he keeps that up, they'll be really good. Obviously Jokic, and they have a lot of good pieces on their bench, so I think they'll slide in at the 6. How about you?
I actually have the Trailblazers at 6. I think overall, they're just a really solid team, and when CJ comes back, will be even more solid. I don't see them surpassing the Nuggets and the Suns, but for now, I think it's good for them to be number 6. So yeah.
Yeah. So at 5, that's where I have the Blazers. Moving on to 5, I have the Blazers. They are my second favorite team, so I could be a tiny bit biased here, but obviously you have Lillard, who's so clutch. You saw against the Warriors, he was not shooting well at all, and he was confident, iced the game with a 3, and won the game for them. So obviously you have Lillard and McCollum, which I think is one of the best duos in the league. Obviously one of the best backcourts in the league. And then you have Nurkic coming back from injury too. He's not that good, but I think him and Enes Kanter are a good center duo, and it'll be good just to have him back. So I think once they get them back, they'll be really, really good. obviously with McCollum and Nurkic out, they've had time for players to develop. Like for example, Robert Covington and Gary Trent Jr. They've been shooting really well. So I think they're just all around really well together team. So I think they'll sign at 5.
At number 5, I actually have the Nuggets. Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., all of them. I think they're gonna start popping off. Like Ryan said, Jamal Murray had a 50-point game. I think Jamal Murray will turn slowly into bubble Jamal Murray and start having more pop off games because he had a kind of a okay beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Nuggets will be 5.
All right, and now at 4, I have the Suns. I think getting Chris Paul in the offseason was one of the most underrated moves in the whole league. People were saying that since he's, I think, 35 or 36, like, oh, he's old, like, it's not really going to do anything. But he's an elite. I mean, obviously he's an all-star. He's an elite passer. He just opens the court a lot more, kind of like Draymond, except as a point guard that can shoot. Devin Booker's kind of started off a little bit rough, but now he's playing really good. They got Jay Crowder in the offseason, which is a really good move as well. And they have a lot of underrated players on that team, so I think 4 is good for them. They've been on a hot streak recently. I think they continue that after the break.
At 4, I also have the Suns. Like, I agree with everything what Ryan said. Chris Paul was definitely an underrated move. Like, they don't really pay attention to the Suns. I think the Suns is actually an underrated team.
I agree.
Like, Chris Paul, like, it's just feeding the team with assists, playmaking, all that. Devin Booker is heating up finally. I think he's doing pretty well. I think their team's actually overall just a solid team and deserve number 4.
Alright, and then moving on to 3 seed. A lot of you guys might not like this. You might give me the you don't watch basketball. But I have the Lakers at 3.
Oh god.
Anthony Davis, I think he'll come back a few weeks after the All-Star break. I'm not sure though. But that's a bad injury. He didn't fully tear his Achilles, but it's still an Achilles injury. It's scary. And even before, Anthony Davis wasn't putting up Anthony Davis numbers. He was still playing really good, but for him, he wasn't playing as good as he should. So, and plus, I just don't really see much in that team besides LeBron and AD, but sometimes that's all you need. But I don't think they'll go past the 3 seed.
At 3, I have the Clippers. Paul George and Kawhi are obviously one of the most deadly duos in the league right now. Kawhi is obviously out right now, but when he comes, actually, wait, I take that back. I think Kawhi is back in, but
well, yeah, he didn't play last game, but he should be back.
Yeah, but I think they have a solid team. Yes, I think they should trade Patrick Beverly. I think they gotta get rid of him. He's a terrible point guard. Overall, the team's solid. They deserve the number 3 spot. Yeah.
So moving on to 2, that's where I have the Clippers. Basically everything what he said. And yeah, I think they should also get rid of Patrick Beverly, and they just need a solid point guard. I think that's all their team needs, because they're so well put together, and their coaching's really good. Obviously, Kawhi is insane. Same with Paul George. Paul George is playing really good. He definitely got the vaccine from Pandemic P in the bubble, so that's good. Got them at 2.
At 2, I actually have the Lakers. When AD comes back, hopefully after the All-Star game, like Ryan said, I feel like they'll become like the old Lakers, championship Lakers. Even though AD wasn't getting enough points like he used to in the bubble, they were still winning games. But as you can see, without AD, it's kind of like the Lakers aren't good. But I see them winning games without AD, like improving without AD. I see them just like a very solid team with or without AD. So I'll put them at 2.
And then at 1, I have the Jazz. Obviously, I can't remember what their record is off the top of my head, but they don't even have 10 losses yet, and that is just like crazy to me. Nobody expected them to be this good. Now they have 3 All-Stars on their team. I think Rudy Gobert is going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
I agree with that.
Shoot, I lost my ball. I think they stay at 1. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Same with me. I think the Jazz deserve the number 1 spot. Their defense is amazing. Their playmaking is amazing, especially their ball movement. That's incredible. They move the ball around, and it just destroys the defense. The 3 ball is really good. I think they gotta get better rebounds, more rebounds, and overall they deserve the number 1 spot. And it's insane how they're not even having double digits for loss yet.
Yeah.
For losses.
So that was our West. Now moving on to the East. At the 8th seed, I have the Pacers sliding into 8. They have Sabonis, Brogdon, and Miles Turner. And a lot of people have forgot about Karis LeVert, who is just chilling on their team. Once he gets back, I think their team's going to be really, a lot better. You saw what Karis LeVert did on the Nets before he got traded. Just a really solid player. And I think the Pacers should have a better record than what they have now. But I think once they get Karis LeVert back, and also T.J. McConnell's been playing really well as well. And so I think they'll come in at 8. How about you?
Actually, I agree with you. I actually have the Pacers at number 8. You know, a lot of people were forgetting about Karis LeVert and how amazing he was on the Nets before. You know, he obviously had that problem. But I'm glad that he recovered. I'm glad he's gonna play soon. But yeah, the Pacers I'm surprised are not doing well this year. But I see them sliding in number 8 spot. I see them progressing more. Yeah, I have the number 8 spot.
So moving on to the 7th seed, I actually have the Hornets. I think they're going to make the playoffs at 7. I think LaMelo Ball is going to win Rookie of the Year. Now, personally, when they drafted LaMelo Ball, I didn't think LaMelo Ball was going to be this good. I didn't think he was going to be an immediate bust, but I didn't think he would be putting up Rookie of the Year and already have a triple-double. But yeah, LaMelo Ball is just really good. They have a really well-rounded team, and honestly, I think they're really underrated. They have a lot of depth and just solid players on their team. How about you for 7?
I actually have the Raptors at 7. I know a lot of people would disagree with me on that, but I think they'll pull it out. I don't think they should trade Kyle Lowry because that'll just ruin their team and their depth and chemistry. But for now, the way they're playing, I think put them at number 7. It could change later on, probably will, but for now, number 7.
Alright, so moving on to 6, I have the Knicks. Knicks have been playing really well this year and surprised a lot of people. They just got Derrick Rose, which was a solid pickup. Now they have a lot of guards on their team, Emmanuel quickly. Julius Randle as well, all-star season for him. He's playing really good this year. They're just a really solid team, so I think 6 seed is a good spot for them.
I have the Knicks at 6, and I think when they acquired Derrick Rose, that's a good. I think that was a good trade to develop their team more.
Yeah.
They also got that rookie. I think he'll develop into a good player. Julius Randle is having an all-star year. Really amazing. And yeah, I think they're just overall a solid team.
So moving on the 5 seed. Mason's not going to be happy with this one. But I have the Celtics at the 5
Okay.
seed.
Okay.
The Celtics at the 5. This is assuming they don't make any big trades. There have been talks about them getting Jeremy Grant or even Nikola Vucevic. Now, if they were to get Nikola Vucevic, which I think would be the best move for them because they need a center, I don't know what they would give up. I'm sure a lot of picks and maybe Daniel Tice and potentially Aaron Nesmith. I don't know. But assuming they get no one else, I think they're just going to stay middle of the pack at 5. Maybe I could see him going 4 too, but I have him at 5 right now. How about you for 5?
5 out of the Heat. You know, Jimmy Butler and Bam is just obviously a deadly duo. When Jimmy came back from COVID, he's been popping off lately, getting the Heat back on their feet, getting them above. I think they're above 500 or even. But
Yeah.
right now there's a solid team. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo is hoping that Heat stay on their feet, and yeah.
So moving to the 4 seed, that's where I had the Heat. Jimmy Butler's been playing really well, and Bam Adebayo I think is a top 5 center. A lot of people were saying that their finals run last year was a fluke. I personally don't believe so. They had a rough stretch of games. The last few weeks, they literally lost to the Warriors in overtime after leading by 19 points, which was kind of funny. I'm glad that happened. But I like the Heat. I think they'll come in at 4. But I could also see the Celtics taking 4 and Heat going to 5. But I have the Heat above the Celtics as of now.
For 4, I got the Bucks actually. Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, but all of them, they're all playing really well. Especially Chris Middleton. I'm surprised.
Yeah, me
He
too.
was an All-Star snub this year. Obviously, you guys know. Um, I think Giannis will be an MVP candidate. I don't think he'll win 3 years in a row. If he does, and then the NBA is definitely rigged. Yeah, I have them at 4 spot. They're a really
Yeah.
solid team.
So at the 3 spot, that's where I have the Bucks. Just what you said. I mean, Giannis right now, a lot of people don't really see it, but he's in the MVP conversation. Um, he's probably not going to win 3 years in a row because voter fatigue exists and everyone's looking at Embiid right now. But then again, there was a whole half of the season to play, and Giannis is just crazy good for a forward, and I think he'll carry the Bucks. Obviously, Chris Middleton too, surprising a lot of people, and Drew Holiday getting back into the Knicks. I think they'll come in at 3.
Um, at 3, I got the Celtics.
Oof.
I know a lot of people disagree with me, but Celtics have problems right now. Coaching, all that stuff. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast. But if they get a good trade and they get a good center, I think Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, possibly Nikola Vucevic will be a deadly trio and could secure the number 3 spot for them.
Oh, yeah, I think if they get Vucevic, they could get 3. So moving on to 2. This one was hard. Obviously, between the Sixers and Nets. I got the Nets going 2. Now, KD has been hurt. They've been winning games without KD. I mean, KD coming back isn't necessarily winning more games. It's obviously more offensive firepower, but you never know what can happen if they get Blake Griffin too. Like, that team is just so good. But I don't have them going 1. I have them 2.
At 2, it's actually the opposite for me. I have the 76ers at 2. I have, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Danny Green. All of them are popping off, especially Tobias Harris. He's playing really well. Another All-Star snub in my opinion. But I don't really see them at number 1. I think when KD comes back and maybe if the Nets develop their defense a little bit better, I can see the Nets at 1.
Yeah.
And the 76ers at 2.
I can see that. So obviously I have the Sixers at 1. Joel obviously is the front runner for MVP right now. That shouldn't be an argument. And just like you said, Tobias Harris is playing well. Ben Simmons is starting to play a lot better, and he's starting to score a lot more. Now obviously he can't really shoot, but attacking the rim, and his defense is elite. Obviously, they're just such a well-rounded team. I think they're gonna go 1 above the Nets.
Obviously, the Nets at number 1. I think their defense will develop throughout the season, and their offense cannot get any better with James Harden, Kyrie, and KD. And yeah,
That's true. I could see the Nets going 1-2. So, those were our seedings. So now we're going to move on to our playoff bracket. And, yeah. So, starting on the West, I have Jazz versus Spurs, Suns versus Blazers, Lakers versus Nuggets, Clippers versus Warriors. Jazz and Spurs. I have the Jazz winning that. I think it'll be a little closer of a series than people think, though. Suns and Blazers. This one's tough. This one is a toss-up, the 4 and the 5 seed. I love my Blazers, but I gotta go with the Suns to win this. I think they're just
I agree with that.
consistent. Lakers and Nuggets. I got the Lakers winning this. It could be close though. Could be close.
Yeah.
Clippers and Warriors. I hate saying this, but Clippers got that one easily.
I got the Jazz versus the Warriors, Lakers versus the Mavericks, Clippers versus the Trailblazers, and Suns versus the Nuggets. Obviously, Jazz versus the Warriors. Jazz are definitely gonna win that. Then we got the Lakers versus the Mavs. Depending if the Lakers don't have AD or the Mavs don't have Porzingis for when they trade him, if they trade him, I still think the Lakers will win that.
Yeah.
And then we got the Clippers versus the Trailblazers. I think the Clippers will win that. I think it will be a close game. Paul George will finally get his revenge on Dame Della. And then I got the Suns versus the Nuggets, and I think the Suns will pull that out.
Alright, so I have now in the semifinals, I have Utah against Phoenix and LA against LA. So, the Jazz and the Suns, this one's honestly a toss-up. I could see it going any way. I think this will be one of the best series we see if this does happen. But I'm rolling with the Jazz. I'm going with the Jazz at the I think they're going to beat the Suns in around 6-7 games. Then you got LA versus LA, Lakers and Clippers. I think the Clippers are going to upset the Lakers and win this series. Move on to the Western Conference Finals with Jazz.
We got the Jazz versus the Lakers and the Clippers versus the Suns. I think the Jazz will beat the Lakers with or without AD. That's just what I think. The Jazz just have more. It's just a solid team. And then we got the Suns versus the Clippers. I think this will be a close game, but I got the Suns coming out on top. I feel like the Suns just have a better team overall. I feel like Chris Paul is carrying the team right now with assists, decision making. And if Devin Booker keeps playing the way he is, I think the Suns have a chance to make it to the Western Finals.
Yeah, I can see that. So, my Western Conference Finals is the Jazz versus the Clippers. This could be a boring pick. And, personally, I don't think this series will be that good. I think the Jazz are going to win this in around 5 games. So, I have the Jazz moving on the finals as the 1 seed.
I have the Jazz versus the Suns. I have to go with Ryan again. Boring pick, but I think the Jazz will beat the Suns. I think the series will be maybe a 7-game series or a 6-game series. Yeah, the Jazz move on to the finals.
Alright, so that was our West. We both have the Jazz coming out of the West. So now moving on to the East, I have the Sixers versus the Pacers, the Heat against the Celtics, Bucks against the Knicks, and Nets against the Hornets. Starting off with the Sixers and Pacers, I have the Sixers winning that. Pacers will not be able to stop Embiid. They have no one to do that. Then you got the Heat and the Celtics. Mason is not going to like me for this one.
Are you on a podcast?
Yes, you just ruined it.
Alright.
What are you doing? You just ruined it. So can you leave? Freaking 30 minutes of recording gone to waste.
Okay. No. No, dude. Alright, we can edit it out maybe.
So now moving on to the Eastern Conference, I have the Sixers against the Pacers, Heat Celtics, Bucks Knicks, and Nets and Hornets. Sixers and Pacers. Sixers are gonna win that easily. Then I got the Heat and the Celtics. Mason's not gonna like me for this one at all, but I have the Heat beating the Celtics.
Damn.
Bucks and
disagree with
Knicks. Give me the Bucks. The Knicks will not be able to beat them. Nets and Hornets gonna be the Nets. The Hornets stand no chance.
I have the Nets versus the Pacers, 76ers for the Raptors. I have the Celtics versus the Knicks, and I got the Bucks versus the Heat. Nets versus Pacers. Obviously, Nets offense will destroy the Pacers. And I got the 76ers versus the Raptors. 76ers will definitely win that, no doubt. And then we got the Celtics versus the Knicks. I feel like this will be a close series, but I feel like the Celtics will pull it off.
Yeah, that
And we got
close.
and I got the Bucks versus the Heat. This will also be a close series with Jimmy Butler, Bam popping off, and Giannis and Chris Middleton popping off. But I think the Bucks will pull it out, no dub. And yeah,
Okay. So now I have Sixers versus the Heat. Bucks against the Nets. Gotta go with the Sixers over the Heat. It could be kind of close. I don't think it will though. Bucks and Brooklyn. I think this will be a blowout. I honestly think the Nets could sweep the Bucks. If they don't sweep, it'll be in 5. The Bucks are not going to be able to handle all that offense. You have Giannis, which is pretty much their only good defensive player who can only do so much. So the Nets are going to win that and go to the Western Conference Finals against the Sixers.
I got the Nets versus Sixers. That's the game everyone wants to watch.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a Game 7 series. I think the Nets will pull it off because their just offense will just destroy the Sixers defense. And I got the Celtics versus the Bucks. I got the Celtics. Depending if they get a good trade in the deadline. Yeah.
So now I have the same Western Conference Finals. I have the Sixers and the Nets. I'm going the Sixers. I think so. You have Ben Simmons, elite defender. I think Ben Simmons can take care of Kyrie, and since Ben Simmons is so big, I think he can switch on to even KD and guard him too. You have Joel as well, and it's just an all-around really good team. I think they're gonna take down the Nets and go to the finals against the Jazz.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, what's your finals matchup?
The Nets versus the Celtics. Obviously, I think it will be a 4-0 series. I think the Nets will just outlast the Celtics in defense and offense. And then the Nets move on to the finals.
All right. So Mason has Nets, Utah. I have Utah and Brooklyn. Or no, I have Utah and Sixers. I think the Sixers are gonna beat Utah, and I think they're gonna win the finals. Yes, I know it's a pretty boring pick, 1 seed versus 1 seed, but I don't see it shaping out any other way. I mean, they're a 1 seed for a reason, so I think the Sixers are gonna win the whole thing.
I got the Nets versus the Jazz. They're both 1 seed. They both have good offense. I think the Jazz defense is a little bit better. Nets could develop their defense throughout the season. But I think the God trio, James Harden, Kyrie, and KD will outlast Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, like all of them. And I can see the Nets blowing out the Jazz in the finals.
Yeah, that could very well happen. So we just finished our playoffs. Now we're going to talk about the MVP race. I'm going to be giving you my top 3 ladder as of now during the All-Star break. And then after that, we're going to both give our MVP prediction for the end of the year with our top 3 end of the year ladder and who wins. So currently, as of now, it's All-Star break right now. My MVP ladder at 3, I have Giannis. People might not agree with it, but I think if you look at his numbers over the last few weeks, he's been balling out. He's averaging like 33 points, which is insane. And I I don't think he'll win it only because he's already won it the past 2 years, and 3 in a row would be absolutely insane. There's definitely some voter fatigue involved with that, so I don't think that'll happen. But I think people are, and the Bucks have been winning games too, which is important. 2, I have Jokic. I think he's the second best center in the league. Jokic has been insane this year, averaging so many points. He's such a good shooter as a big, and that's just, I think, part of the reason why the Nuggets are going to be in the playoffs this year. And at 1, I have Joel Embiid, which should be everyone's 1. It's pretty obvious at this point. He's running away with it at this point. It could change, but maybe not. How about you?
For number 3, I actually have Jokic at number 3.
3.
I know a lot of people are disagreeing me. They're gonna disagree with me with that. But yeah, I see him at number 3. I think the record could be a little bit better. I know because Jamal Murray isn't playing that well. Yeah, that too.
That
But
is true.
Jokic is averaging like I think 27 points a game, which is really solid. I think that's pretty well. Averaging so many rebounds. And at number 2, I actually have LeBron. LeBron is leading his team in like points, assists, I think rebounds, and etc. Their team record is like number 3 in the West, and LeBron's the team captain of the All-Star game. I know that doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying. And number 1, obviously, Joel Embiid. Obviously, 76ers are popping off this year, and the reason why is because of Joel Embiid. He dropped 40 points that one game, which is kind of insane for a center, especially. He can shoot a 3-ball pretty well. He can shoot mid-range pretty well. Yeah, he's my number 1 spot.
Alright, so for the end of the season, for the end of the year, I think Joel Embiid's going to win MVP. He deserves it, and as long as nothing happens and he keeps playing this way, he'll easily win it. At number 2, who I think is going to finish number 2 in voting, I got Jokic. I think he's going to keep playing the same way and try to, pass up Embiid, which probably won't happen. But I think Jokic will get 2. And then at 3, I have my boy, Steph Chef. Look at Curry, man, at number 3 in MVP voting. I wish I could say he'd win it, but I think at the end of the year he's going to be averaging 33 points a game. I think he's going to be up there with how Bradley Beal is right now. I think he's going to lead the Warriors to the playoffs. I don't think we're going to win a round, but playoff performance doesn't really, it doesn't really matter that much as in for who wins the MVP. But, yeah, I think that Curry's going to go 3. How about you?
I kind of disagree with the Curry thing. I don't think he should be number 3. I think he should be number 4. I honestly think LeBron or Giannis, these are number 3 for the end spot.
I could see Giannis there. I just don't see LeBron.
But at number 1, I got obviously Joel Embiid for MVP. If he doesn't get MVP this year, it's definitely rigged. At number 2, I got Jokic. I feel like throughout the season he's going to average more points, more rebounds, more assists. I think he's leading the league right now with rebounds. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And at number 3, I got Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant will be number 3. I know he's missing out a lot of games right now, but when he comes back, I think he'll pop off. And during the playoff run too, I think he'll pop off. And yeah.
That is spicy.
I know. Yes, sir. I can't believe you said Kevin 3.
Bro,
over Kevin Durant, like come on.
Bro,
over Kevin Durant.
So much time.
Yeah, but LeBron and Giannis, you forgot about them too. LeBron never missed a game.
I don't understand why LeBron is in people's MVP race right now.
Dude,
I don't
LeBron
get
is
it.
carrying their team right now, and they're number 3 in the West. The West is so stacked, and it's keeping them up there.
I don't care. Go look at every statistical category there is in basketball. LeBron's not top 5 in any of them.
Okay, well,
No
LeBron,
way.
right? Okay, well, we're talking about this season, and LeBron is carrying their team with points, assists, rebounds, all
That's
that
their
stuff.
team though.
Well,
Like
LeBron,
I know stats isn't everything in sports, but it definitely plays a large factor in it. And
and
when you're not even top 5 in any of those, I don't see how you can be in the MVP conversation.
okay, but like, if you really think about it, though, LeBron can literally shoot from anywhere. Steph Curry can shoot from anywhere, but if you get someone good on him, like Ben Simmons on him, I don't think he'll be averaging 30 points. Without Clay, I don't think he'll be.
But
I don't think he's a
that's because they double and triple team him. That's the game plan.
exactly.
The coach draws up the play and goes, here, when Curry dribbles the ball up, you pull 2 defenders on him. As every time
I
he
mean,
gets bombarded. That's why they hold him to like 20 points. Yeah, and when they do double, triple team him the whole game, he still averages 20 points a game.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But LeBron's a king. Yeah, you can triple team him or double team him. He'll still the way score. LeBron is he has 4 rings. I know that doesn't really matter. I do not want to get in this that ring conversation right now. But I disagree or agree. I think LeBron is in the MVP race. I think he'll be top 3 for now, but towards the end he's definitely not top 3.
And
Neither is Curry.
Okay, well, I mean, this could go an argument in LeBron's favor as well, but I think there should be 2 different awards, and this goes for NFL as well. Not just MVP, but there should be best player. MVP,
Yeah, that's true.
in my opinion, most valuable. That's different than who had the best year, because valuable is how valuable you are to a team. If the Warriors didn't have Steph Curry this year, you can't even tell you how bad they'd be. But same goes
Yeah,
for the
but
Lakers
same with
too.
the Lakers.
Exactly.
Yeah, same with the Lakers.
But Curry's still playing better. So, in my opinion. So that's what makes me put him over him.
Yeah,
I
but
just don't like seeing the NBA have like his balls like deep in their throat and have him at like 2 the whole year, or like 1 or 2. That's just crazy to me. It's like so stupid.
yes, he's scoring more points, but let's talk about like rebounds though and like assists. Like
He's not a well.
like
Okay,
those.
technically, he's a guard because he's like a point forward type thing. But that's stupid. But Curry's 6'3", LeBron's what 6'8"? I don't even freaking know how tall he is. But Curry gets a good amount of rebounds too. Like he's not just a scorer.
That's true. That's true. But you can't really like. Yeah, the height matters, but like, if you look at Joel and Jokic, I mean, like LeBron can't be up there because he's not tall enough,
Yeah. Well, I mean, in my opinion, that's what makes Bradley Beal like a tad bit overrated. Like
Yeah.
overrated is that's not saying he's bad, but when people are saying he's like
Yeah.
the best shooting guard in the league, like I
Yeah.
can't agree with that. He's a pure scorer, which is definitely important, but you got to do more than that. And that's why James Harden's the best.
Yeah.
Because you see him averaging almost a triple double a game, and when he can assist and rebound like that, that's the best shooting guard in the league. And when people are putting Bradley Beal
Yeah.
at 1, like that's just crazy to me. He's only a scorer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. The conversation could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, that's our wrap for the MVP race or talk. Hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed.
Thank you guys for watching the podcast. Make sure to check the description for our links. I'll have my link tree in bio. Make sure to go follow Mason on TikTok. He's trying to get the 200 followers, so make sure to go drop
I actually
a
did
follow.
already.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Next
Get
goal
him to- get
300.
him to 300. Let's get him to 300, boys. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know if you guys want more podcasts in the future.